So we went down to Puerto Penasco, Mexico to build a Sunday school room for a church. They already had the church building, but they needed room for the kids. So we did everything from laying the foundation to putting the roof up with all the framing and the stucco.
Well, like the first day, like mixing concrete and stuff, your muscles are super sore after it, and like it was hard to sit up in the morning to like even function. So before we got to the campsite, we went to Triangle Y Ranch Camp to do some team building activities, and we played lots of games like catchphrase and 5 crowns and stuff, and it was really helped build our community and group together and like kind of bond us before we had to like work hard together and stuff and cooperate. It was really great to like sing songs with Mr. Clausen playing the guitar and do some like fun catching games where we get to throw stuff at each other, which is pretty great.
I had a lot of fun on the trip, just hanging out with the people and playing games around the fire and working on the house together. We definitely had to sacrifice a lot. We slept in tents and or a camp. We didn't get a good shower for a couple days. You're going with a shower bag or washing off in the ocean.
One of the things that I had to sacrifice on this trip was hot water because we had to shower in really cold water.
Some things I had to sacrifice to go on this trip was definitely like the comfort of my family and my home, and just like comfortable situations where I don't have to like go out and like speak to other people and stuff.
It took about 4.5 days, give or take. We had a couple windy days with lots of blowing sand.
Our tents were all flat to the ground and we didn't know where we would sleep and stuff. The pastor and his wife that we were actually building the building for opened up their main church building so that we could sleep the night and stay safe. I thought that was God working in wonderful ways, and that even though we were serving them, they actually served and saved us.
I learned a lot of things on the trip. If enough people get together as a community and work towards the same goal, you can do amazing things. I made a lot of great connections with my classmates and teachers. Mr. Clausen is a beauty, and I have so many great friends in my class.
Sure wish I could line dance. Well, at the Middle Year's fundraiser on June 8th, you can. Just come to Calvin Christian Collegiate and pay the low price of a $2 entrance fee, and who knows, you can end up dancing like these.
This whole thing started with a few classmates. They had an idea to do a fundraiser. It wasn't supposed to be serious, it was just a fun idea to organize this. And we had a lot of fun doing it, actually. It started with, in gym class, we were doing some line dancing, and we're like, it'd be super fun to have a Western-themed fundraiser. So we did that, and we came up with more and more ideas until eventually we got to present it to the principal, which was really exciting and scary. Yeah, that's how it started.
I've experienced joy seeing all of the volunteers who have gotten together and are willing to sacrifice their time to help us put this together.
So we're going to have, outside in the courtyard, we're going to have a bunch of fun and games. We're going to have like a 3-legged race, some axe throwing, more activities out there. And then you go into the NPR, and that's where you're able to eat food and watch the line dancing and join in if you want. And then a bit downstairs in the hallway, we'll have like a raffle and a pie auction down there, and that's where you get the food.
I've sacrificed if I want to do something during my lunch breaks, or I have something else I wanted to do during lunch. I've been having to give up that to help out with some of these things.
in planning the fundraising fair, I've had to sacrifice some of my time. We've done it at lunch times where we've had to eat during class, or we've had to miss classes and had to do that whole class for homework before. And the actual fundraising fair, I'm going to be missing stuff for that too.
Working with others, it's great. You get more ideas than if you were just by yourself, but it's also you have to make sure everybody has access to all of the ideas that they need to have access to so they can understand what they're supposed to be doing.
I've experienced joy doing this fundraiser by hanging out with my friends a lot, doing the activities. We did gardening, we made some plants outside, that was really fun.
Right here, 320. Yeah. Right here, 340.
Yeah.
360.
Yep.
400.
Yeah.
Anything? Nope. Going once, going twice. Sold to the lady in the green bandana. That kind of action is something that you'll get at the Middle Years fundraiser on June 8th. So come on down to our silent pie auction from 6 to 8 p.m. and maybe even compete with your friends.
Last summer, I volunteered at Rosy River Bible Camp.
So last year I volunteered at Valley View Bible Camp, and it was a really interesting experience because it was a servanthood development program that I signed up for. So we did a lot of cleaning and serving food and putting others first.
Supervised kids 24/7 for like 5 days a week, and then just lead games, lead Bible studies, that kind of thing, lead group activities.
I really felt joy in just giving back to the community, and we would basically be cleaning from like sunrise to sundown and everything. So just putting others first and just experience joy in giving back.
One of my favorite parts about camp was playing in the chapel band at camp. That was just a really fun experience, play in front of all those campers and just, get them hyped up and stuff.
So a lot of people wouldn't love to clean all day for one whole week, but I did 2 weeks of it because after 1 week I just made so much friendship and I just really sacrificed a lot for that summer just to be with others and help the camp.
I had to sacrifice money, I guess, because it's volunteer work, so I didn't really get to make that much money over the summer. So that was the main sacrifice, I'd say. And then maybe just not being at home with my family and friends all summer too.
So ICE is a unique experience where students get to go downtown in Winnipeg and really just learn a lot about what the community is down there, the needs that are in our inner city in Winnipeg, and then just engage with that and see what it's like. I think the part that I liked a lot when I went was you get to learn about it, you get to learn some of the history, you get to learn why it's there, why it exists, and then you get to be part of just seeing the people and seeing them as people, seeing them for who they are, and yeah, there's just even just that in itself is, I'd say, is a lot of learning, because when I've had interactions in the past in inner city, it's often just driving through, just going by and not really engaging, not really seeing what it is, and then I get these stereotypes of, oh, I think those people are this, I think they're that, and so when you go there to be there rather than just drive through, you really get a chance to see it in a different way, and I came away seeing a lot of the positives, a lot of the bright places, just the unique people, the amazing people, and you get to see it just in a different way.
The inner city experience for me was probably the most eye-opening trip that I took at the school, but also just in general. That one was really important to me because I got to see how people in the same city who live 15 minutes away from where I live, how they live such different and difficult lives, and what they have to do to survive, and how intricately they have to live their lives. You see a lot of these people, like Mr. Thiessen was saying and sharing about, seeing some of these people on the streets, and you just drive by and you don't think anything of it, but being homeless is actually really hard. You have to be on time to certain things or else you won't get a bed for the night. You'll start seeing people line up at like 2 or 3 p.m. trying to get a bed for that night, trying to get a good spot at the safe shelter. Otherwise, you have to go join a line of one of the not so safe ones or entirely miss sleeping in a shelter for that night. And just wow, all these things that I learned and was able to continue to remember and keep in mind for when I see these people just outside of the trip as well. You know, I'm able to go back and serve these people, whether I am volunteering somewhere or whether it's, you know, I see someone and I help them on the street. But now just having a bigger understanding and just talking to them one-on-one, these people, and understanding and hearing specifically their needs and what they hope to get as human beings. And yeah, like one of the main things that I learned was that people who are on the corner of the streets, like they're not always wanting money, they're just wanting a smile. And that specifically has stuck with me forever. And whenever I see someone, I always make sure to smile at them because I know it makes them feel human. That was one of the things, is that they said they didn't feel human and just felt ignored and felt like trash because people, I don't want to associate at all with these people. And so yeah, I always, that's what that trip means to me.
Yeah, you mentioned that web of supports, and that's a huge thing when you think of how how I have, you know, my family, my friends, my church, my school community, like so many people that care about me. They would help me if I needed something. I've got multiple layers of people that I could just call and they would help me. And yet there's people that just don't have that, no matter where they came from or whatever, where they're at now, they don't have anyone that they can go to support them. And so, it's easy to compare, like to say, oh, well, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? And yet where they're at right now, it's not that easy. Like you can't just change where your situation is. Yeah. So
I remember just at my favorite time of ICE was when we would be serving like coffee. I was at UGM, Union Gospel Mission, for the most part, and every day a part of our routine was going and helping with like they had a little church service every day, and then they would have like baking and coffee, and I loved being able there to just hang out with these people and be able to serve them. And I learned so much. And you ask, like, they're such open books. They're so willing to talk about their journeys. And so you ask them, like, I would ask people about the finding a job, because obviously it's going to be more difficult than we imagine. And they're saying, like, where do we print a resume? Where do we tell them to call us back? Where's our address? Like, these are things that we don't consider, like you were saying as well. Like, we have all these people we can contact, and we have answers to solve our problems, but the reason people end up homeless is often because they have exhausted all other opportunities and are now in a place where they have to sort of rebuild. And that's something that we don't always see just from driving past and whatever.
Yeah, one way that I think you can, just mentally prepare or go into an experience like that is, sometimes it just happens. Sometimes you're just there and you experience it, and that's great. But yeah, if you're gonna prepare, think about it. Just be open to people, like to seeing the positives. I think, like, be open to. Just having your eyes open, looking for what's there, that was a huge positive for me, was just seeing like all the skills that people had. I remember meeting people and just finding out they're artists, they can do all these different skills that I would have no idea, and so just having your eyes open to that they're people, that they're creative, they have ideas, they have goals, and just sort of treating them like a friend, like you would treat anyone. Like it might feel a bit daunting, overwhelming to go to a new environment, a new community, and yet there's so much similarity once you just sort of put yourself there and just be yourself, and you're willing to talk to someone that you might not talk to normally.
I remember my first day there, we were like, okay, there's an hour and a half and you guys are supposed to give people baking, serve people coffee, and just hang out. And I was like, how am I going to fill 90 minutes by doing this? And I remember I only talked to 2 people because they were all so open and so nice and kind. And I learned so much just asking questions. And like you said, they ask questions back. They're interested in you, because a lot of the time people don't care to ask these questions and don't care to learn about these people, which is why a lot of people as well respond with anger. That's one of the things we learned as well, is that a lot of people put on these masks to be left alone, to be, I don't want to be bothered, so I'm going to yell, I'm going to be loud, I'm going to be scary. But it's just because that's all they have. That's the only thing they have control over, is their response to things at that time. And so even then, near the end, I was getting braver, and I was going to people who weren't being spoken to because they were putting on these facades. And with the help of, I don't remember who, I think it was one of the workers at UGM, I talked to some of the other people who weren't being spoken to, and I learned a lot about those people, and they're just all such nice people most of the time.
So how I'd connect the head and the heart with the ice is when I'm teaching. We teach a lot of stuff. You can watch videos, learn stuff in the classroom. You get a perspective on things, and you can learn a lot. And yet when you physically go to a new place and you're there, you're away from the classroom, there's just another level of it's like a change. Like you mentally sort of shift to, okay, now I'm in the real world. The classroom is real, but yet there's a shift of, I'm now in the real world. Now I'm seeing stuff that's going on outside of school. This is people's lives after school or outside of school. And so you really just see things differently, and there's just a different way of learning. And so you can sort of get like the facts, the information in different ways. But when you're there, then you can combine that with an experiential learning of, this is what's happening. You're sort of walking the streets, walking the history in a sense, and you can see it all there. And so it's not just an idea that someone's showing on a screen that's just sort of away from you. You're physically there, and whether you make all those connections or not, there's an option that you can. And so you can connect, like, okay, there's history of how homelessness has happened, how things have started, history of Winnipeg, and then you see people actually on the streets, but they're actually people. And so I think it really connects the different areas of your brain where, okay, it's not just an idea, it's actually a need, and there's real people that matter. And so you hear facts and information, and then you have a chance to be part of it and hear people's actual stories and their emotions and their background and how challenging it is, and then you just connect all those ideas together, and you come away with a way richer experience, and it's just more impacting, I think. On the one hand, you could just walk downtown, talk to someone, and leave, and you'd get a bit of experience. On the other hand, you could go to a classroom and just sort of hear a bunch of information. But when you combine them, then it's just a new understanding that you just don't get any other way. So that's why I think that the inner city experience is so effective to learn. And learning isn't just information. It's you processing someone's feelings that you meet, where they're angry, they're upset, they're frustrated, they're hurt. And so you get to see that, and it also sort of pulls you out of your own self. Like when you're watching a video, you can be like, oh, well, I don't care, I'm just going to turn it off. But when it's a person that's in front of you and you can see that their life is just that challenging, then you're almost forced to have a bit more compassion, and really, like, it's like you have an opportunity to connect with them. You have an opportunity to be something, even if even if you don't talk to them at all, you're still a bit more involved in their life, and yeah, you can't ignore it. Like, you have to have a bit more of a reaction, and hopefully it's impacting for you, and then in the future you'll be able to build on that and think about how you can think about these people, how you can give back to this community, and so it's just, there's no other way to get that, I don't think.
One way that I experienced joy while on the Mexico trip was definitely just seeing the joy of everybody around me. It was very uplifting to see everybody just in a happy mood, which gave you that joy inside of yourself.
All right, so what I sacrificed was time, of course, but what happened in that, like, the time that I sacrificed was with friends, not being able to, like, see my family at all or hang out with my family, my dogs, and just having my daily life and just my daily routine of just going to school and then coming back home and going to activities like basketball or just working out and or just going on like a walk.
One thing that I sacrificed was definitely my sleep. When we would work very hard in the day for most of the day, and then when we got home, we would need a lot of sleep, but sometimes after the work, we wouldn't get a lot of sleep because we were hanging out with the homies around the campfire.
One thing I learned on this entire Mexico trip, and one thing that really stood out to me, was through our campsite I saw maybe 5 different resorts and just in the distance, and it was it built a little bit of frustration in me and a little bit of anger. I didn't realize how blessed we are in this Western country. We have everything at our fingertips. Out there, they're thankful if they live in a little shack. And so when I see those little resorts out there, and it's just they have to look at that every single day and be like, man, that's luxury, and they always have a goal to aspire to become better. And so I learned it's just that we're so blessed to have our roof under, we're under a roof, and things are just so good here. And so working out there just for a week really showed me just how much God's given us, and that doing something as little as this for those in Mexico, how much of a blessing it is to others.
I learned a lot more about God, but a lot more about my teachers and classmates. I learned that even though I'm in a whole different country and I'm in a whole different place with new jobs and challenges, that I'm able to rely on God no matter what, no matter if the concerns were small or if they were huge. I was able to rely on God, and He was there for me always, and that's why I thought that God was really holy to me during this whole time, because He's just so amazing how He can help me through the highs and the lows.
Going on the
Mexico trip helped me connect my knowledge of what I know about God and how he can work in my life. And I think that knowing that he's not limited by your community or who you're surrounded with or where you go, that he'll just be with you and be able to work in your situation wherever you might find yourself. And I thought that that was something that I hadn't really noticed until traveling somewhere with a bunch of people that I only know in school. And so it was just really nice to learn that about other people and about God and about myself too.
Life has got me working hard.
Some things that I learned are that when you're surrounded around good people, it brings the best out of you. And also when you're trying to be a good person to others, it brings the best out of them.
I don't wanna chase the wind, building temporary things. Give me shelter in the wings. In this freedom I will sing, 'cause I was made for more.
One thing that I learned about God is that no matter what you're doing in this world, if you're doing it for him, then that's really all that matters.